The member for Hughes.
Thank you, Speaker. It's pleased to rise in support of the motion moved by the member for Groom, highlighting the incidents that we have in our nation of drownings. Speaker, the Royal Life-Saving National Drowning Report for 2016 reports that in the 12 months between the 1st of July 2015 and the 30th of June 2016, there were 280 drownings in this country. 280 people lost their lives. And Speaker, they were spread across 63 of those deaths occurred at our beaches, 58 occurred in our rivers and creeks and streams, 53 occurred in our oceans and harbour locations, and 45 deaths occurred in swimming pools. Deputy Speaker, that was a 5% increase on the previous year, where 267 people lost their lives from drowning in Australia. And Deputy Speaker, even though it's slightly below the long-run average, this is far, far too many people losing their lives. So, Deputy Speaker, what policies can we look at as legislators to try and reduce this total? Firstly, Deputy Speaker, we obviously need to ensure that more young children learn to swim. And the issue I see we have, Speaker, going forward is that if we look at our housing policies in our cities, we are having more and more children growing up in high-rise apartments where they're unlikely to have a backyard swimming pool where they learn to live. I think of my experience, Speaker, growing up in Peakhurst, just a middle-class suburb in the south of Sydney. Many of our neighbours, Deputy Speaker, had the simple backyard swimming pool. Above the ground swimming pool, we got in as kids and we learnt to swim. That opportunity, Speaker, it will be denied the thousands and thousands of young kids because of the change of housing policy in this nation, where more and more children will be growing up in high-rise apartments. The other issue, Speaker, that we need to also address is the high cost of swimming lessons. If we look at the cost of running a swimming centre, Deputy Speaker, and I have several in my electorate. One is the Menai Indoor Swimming Academy down at Menai that I visited recently. And the owners, Deputy Speaker, explained to me that their biggest cost of running their centre is their electricity. They've got to continually filter the water. The water's got to go through the filtering systems once every 24 hours. They've also got the cost of heating the water, Deputy Speaker. And Deputy Speaker, I hate to harp on this, but he looked at the increases that were projected in his electricity costs, and he projected, Deputy Speaker, under previous policies, if we'd allowed electricity costs to increase in this country, he would be paying, Deputy Speaker, an extra $100,000 in electricity costs up to the year 2020. Now, Deputy Speaker, I don't want to make this issue on drownings about other partisans' issue. Well, I'm raising the issue that electricity costs for swimming centres are a very high cost of swimming. And if we raise the cost of electricity in this country, that cost that burden is paid by those centres that pay the electricity bills, and that means it's higher costs for children to have swimming lessons. So we can't ignore that fact. We cannot ignore that fact in this parliament that there are policies being put in by governments, both state and federal, that are increasing the costs of electricity, and by doing so, we increase the cost of kids' swimming lessons. That is a fact. Now, what we can do, we have to admit that's a fact, and maybe we need to have greater subsidies for kids to have swimming lessons. At least let's talk about the facts. Let's not just brush that aside. I want to see more kids in this country getting the opportunity to have swimming lessons. And if we have policies that increase the cost of electricity, if we increase that increased cost of electricity, we push the cost up and we make it harder and harder for kids. Now, I would hope the members on the other side would join with me and say we need to make greater access to kids to get swimming lessons. But if we put up the price of electricity, we are doing the opposite. So what we need to do, Deputy Speaker, I want to see a policy, Deputy Speaker, where all kids in schools get the opportunity to go and do compulsory swimming lessons. That is what we should be pushing for. That is what we should be pushing for, Speaker. That is what we should be doing to give those children the opportunity to learn to swim. Deputy Speaker, I hope
member's time
members
has
on the other
expired.
side.
The member for Hughes will resume his seat. I call the member for Hindmarch.
Thank you.